Hello dear viewers, you're watching ERi-TV with me Bersabet Takhla. Welcome to English News Broadcast. Let us start with the major headlines for today. World Malaria Day observed in the Central Region. Renovation of Kermed Health Station in Hagga subzone. Iran urges new nuclear meet as soon as possible. And Israeli forces fire artillery shells into southern Lebanon. On the local news, World Malaria Day observed in the Central Region in Berri subzone today, 25 April, under the theme Harness Innovation to Reduce the Malaria Disease Burden and Save Lives. Speaking at the event, Dr. Mulugeta Haile, Director of the Ministry of Health branch in the Central Region, indicating that malaria is one of the world's killer diseases, said that according to the WHO report, the number of infections was 241 million and the number of deaths was around 627,000 in 2020, and that 95% of infections and 96% of the deaths occurred in the African continent, indicating that worldwide malaria death rate in 2020 was over 900% higher than the previous year. Dr. Mulugeta said that this attests to the seriousness of the disease that calls for urgent integrated malaria prevention and treatment efforts. The head of Malaria Prevention Unit in the Central Region, Mr. Kibraab Tesfa Mikael, on his part noting that as a result of the effort underway to meet the world's STD goal to eradicate malaria by 2030, the malaria infection rate that was 0.44% in 2018 nationwide has declined to 0.05% in 2021, and that more effort is being exerted to reduce it to zero infection. Mr. Kibraab also pointed out that as part of the preventive measures undertaken in 2018 and 2021, impregnated mosquito bed nets have been distributed to over 14,000 pregnant women in the Central Region and over 60,000 impregnated bed nets to people residing in mosquito breeding areas from 2017 to 2021. He further said that out of the tests carried out on about 39,000 people in the region in the years from 2017 to 2021, only 947 people, out of which 855 are from abroad, were diagnosed positive for malaria. In a concluding speech, the administrator of Berri subzone, Mr. Tesfu Fissahadian, on his part expressed conviction that extra effort will be undertaken in the prevention and treatment of malaria in compliance with the programs that the Ministry of Health issued. At the observance event, various activities and experiences sharing forums have been conducted with the view to eradicate the prevalence of malaria. Proceeding with your news, owing to the cooperation of the public and the Ministry of Health branch in Ansaba region, Kermed Health Station located in Hagga subzone has been renovated and is providing efficient and better services. Speaking to Erina, Nurse Warada Yabio, representative of the head of the health station, stated that infrastructural renovation activity undertaken have alleviated challenges being encountered and ensured service provision, noting that construction of maternity waiting rooms and postnatal sections have significantly played in expanding delivery and vaccination services, that the coverage of both services has reached to over 85%. Associate Nurse Warada indicated that strong effort is being exerted to fully implement community-based environmental sanitation program in the area. Employees of Kermed Health Station, midwife nurse Taklesgi Gabrit and associate nurse Funan Rezene on their part, stating that thanks to the awareness-raising campaigns and seminars conducted, harmful practices have declined and called on the public to strengthen participation in the implementation of the health programs. Located about 42 kilometers southeast of Haggas town, Kermed Health Station provides service to residents of 10 villages in Haggas subzone, as well as Gula administrative area, Gashbarka region. On the last local news, machinery-supported preparations are underway for Rainfed Farming in Tessani subzone. The head of the Office of Agriculture in the subzone, Engineer Merhawi Gabra Mikael, stated, highlighting on the significance of construction of terraces and farmlands and enhancing production and protecting soil erosion. Engineer Merhawi said that the preparations are being conducted using several tractors deployed by the government, stating that 1,000 hectares of the 1,700 hectares of farmland have been already terraced. Engineer Merhawi commended the residents for their strong participation. Mr. Girmay Gebreyesus, administrator of Shu'aib administrative area, on his part underscoring the significance of farming preparations in increasing production and productivity, commended administrative areas for their participation. There is over 13,000 hectares of rainfed farmlands in Tessani subzone, according to documents of the Office of Agriculture in the subzone. That was all with the local news, dear viewers. Coming up will be international one after the short break. Welcome back. On your international news, Iran called today for a new meeting as soon as possible in the talks that have been held in Vienna aimed at restoring its fried 2015 nuclear deal with the major powers. Tehran has been engaged in negotiations with Britain, China, France, Germany, and Russia directly, and the United States indirectly to revive the so-called Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the JCPOA. According to the Foreign Ministry spokesman Saeed Khatibzadeh, it is not yet decided where and when to have this meeting and at what level it should be held, but it's on the agenda. The 2015 deal gave Iran sanctions relief in exchange for curbs on its nuclear program to guarantee that Tehran could not develop a nuclear weapon, something it has always denied wanting to do so. The United States' unilateral withdrawal from the accord in 2018 under then President Donald Trump and reimposed biting economic sanctions prompted Iran to begin rolling back to its own commitments. Iran and the United States, adversaries for decades, have been exchanging views through the European coordinator of the Vienna talks, Enrique Mora. Khatibzadeh said Iran and the European Union agreed that prolonging the pause in the negotiations is not in anyone's interests. He also added that the talks have not stopped and are continuing through the coordinator of the Vienna negotiations. The Vienna talks, which started a year ago, aim to return the United States to the nuclear deal, including through the lifting of sanctions on Iran and to ensure Tehran's full compliance with its commitments. On the last news, Israeli forces fired dozens of artillery shells into southern Lebanon after a rocket was launched over the border from Lebanon into an open area across the border. An Israeli military spokesperson tweeted that artillery forces bombarded open areas in southern Lebanon where the rocket came from, as well as an infrastructural target. The Lebanese army said in a statement that Israeli forces had launched 50 artillery shells into several Lebanese towns near the southern border with Israel. Additionally, according to the Lebanese media, UN peacekeeping forces in the country's south sounded sirens along several of its positions near the border, while the Lebanese army deployed troops. No injuries or casualties have been reported on either side of the border. It was not clear which group in Lebanon was behind the rocket attack. The incident takes place as tensions have flared in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem in recent weeks after Israeli forces raided the Al-Aqsa compound several times during the Muslim holy months of Ramadan, triggering protests across Palestinian territories, including besieged Gaza. In the last 2 weeks, 16 Palestinians and 3 Israeli have been killed. Dear viewers, you're still watching ERi-TV, and now recap of the major headlines for today. World Malaria Day observed in the Central Region. Renovation of Kermed Health Station in Haga subzone. Iran urges new nuclear meet as soon as possible. And Israeli forces fire artillery shells into southern Lebanon. Dear viewers, that was all for today. Have a good one.